Are we live? We're live? Yeah, I'm on. Can the people hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me too?
What's
All
up,
right.
everybody? We got it's probably, should be said a few times, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we got a special edition of Tin Soldier Tuesday. Actually, Dave's wife threw him into this. I wasn't going to ask him to come down here after you just drove. How far did you drive?
Oh, 540 miles.
Yeah, and then he had to drive another hour to get here. So Natalie thought it would be awesome to have him, and of course. But him and Cheeseburger and the crew, you're probably the winner of the baddest Ultra Street race that's happened on this planet to date. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, there was a lot of heavy hitters there. Every round was tight, and the field was really, really close.
So you had 32. What was it? 30. There was 34 cars, right?
Well, at one time somebody told me there was like 37.
Gotcha.
But before the first round of qualifying, I think 4 cars had already dropped out. They had hurt. They had during testing on Friday.
Yeah.
And so when qualifying started out, I think there was 33 or 34 cars, which was good because I was hoping it would be a 32-car field, so we'd have a 5-round race.
Yeah. Did it pay more but no, it didn't. It was always 10 grand to win.
Right. It was always 10 grand to win.
So, so we got 34 cars, 32 of them made it. So a couple guys didn't get the race. 5 rounds, $10,000, a Buick V6, a stock suspension Mustang that has stock torque boxes and an 8.8, and Demo Dave behind the wheel and Cheeseburger punching the keys. So before we get into the actual race, I think, and you've come and talked with us before, it took you years to become an overnight success. So that's a Kevin Neal line. If you never heard me say it, it's so good. So I think a lot of times when class racing, what tends to happen is you see a combo that's doing well, and people naturally want to gravitate to that combo because it's doing well. But you have raced a Buick V6 for a very long time.
30 years. 30 years I've been, trying to perfect that combination, get a little better. And, even though we go out and win a race like this, I can almost guarantee nobody else is going to want to pick that combination because it's just too hard.
Yeah.
The parts only last so long, and when they do, you just can't go down to some speed shop and find things that are going to bolt on.
Yeah. Well, I know more about Buick V6 now just because, we're friends now. So, just seeing your struggle with it. And I think the asterisk to that is everybody in class racing, everybody that's racing, you're working hard. That's not an argument. Everybody is putting in a lot of effort. I think the unique thing for you, Brad and I race a boost, small block boosted combo. It's an LS. You can run down to the local Kmart and get parts for that. You don't have that luxury. Your cylinder heads and stuff are 25 years old?
35.
Oh, geez. So they're
older than you are.
Yeah, they're older than me. So, and there's no replacement for that head. So my dad races NHRA Superstock. So kind of what I see the parity to what you do is he's always hunting for parts, things that he needs, because it has to be a specific part number, blah, 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 blah. You kind of have the same struggle, but now you're jamming 40 pounds of boost through something that was never meant to be ran like that.
Oh, yeah. Back in the day, those heads were pretty cool. They were really good. But now technology's gone beyond that. So you got to look at other ways to make it a little better, a little stronger. The deck isn't real thick on the head for the amount of power we're trying to make and the amount of boost. And so you're always fighting that struggle. Trying to keep the heads on the motor. They got extra head bolts, but that only does so much if the deck is thin on the heads.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. It's tough because it's kind of bittersweet. Every pass you make, you think, is this the last one?
Yeah.
Because it's going to come apart. We're stretching the rubber band as tight as we can, and eventually it's going to break.
Yeah, and you see a lot of times if you've been around David Cheese at the racetrack or whatever, a lot of times you'll see them make 330 foot hits. They'll make a good qualifying pass, and a lot of the rest of them are you don't make full pulls just because you want to keep, the wear and tear off that thing as much as possible.
Oh yeah, I mean, it doesn't do you any good to go out and qualify good if you can't be around for eliminations.
Yeah. And I've seen that happen to you. I have, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad because, you go, oh, it's running so good, and then we're done.
Yeah. I've really, Dave, when we first started on this journey of us working together, Dave always said that, they were hard on parts, but, I never would have guessed that thing would tear up as much stuff as it tears up. It's unreal.
Yeah. I mean, it's got better this year
than
it was last year, but it's still, man, I mean, it's just, and it's because we're trying to run hard to keep up with everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, if we wanted to run middle of the pack maybe or back, just qualify, be happy to qualify, well, it would probably last longer too. But, I mean, what's the sense in doing it if you don't want to win?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about the race. How did you had to go 5 rounds? Mm-hmm. You did a phenomenal job driving.
Oh, go on.
You remember your lights off the top of your head?
I had a 009. I had a 17, and I think a 11, and I had a 40. I'm like, man, I told Cheese, I'm sorry. He goes, no, that was me. He puts them in the box, because he knows sometimes I get all amped up.
I'm guilty.
Yeah, you get amped up and you do stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're just, you want to win. And sometimes when I get amped up, I might bump it in a fuzz deep. So, it just, because I've screwed up a bunch this year. I mean, races that I could have done better at, that I red lighted at Ohio Valley at the prize fight. And I was so mad at myself. And then I red lighted in St. Louis at NMCA against Joel, but that was so bad of a red light. I mean, I just flinched.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes you just kind of twitch, and I just felt bad about it. And I just said, you know what? I got to start just blocking everything out and just concentrating on that. Who cares who's in the other lane? Who cares what round it's in?
Yeah.
Just try to be a machine if you can. And, man, I tell you, I was, sometimes it's just your day, and my lights were pretty good for me, for an old guy. And
a 009, besides your 40 that Cheese put delay in, I mean, basically you were 20 or better all day.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know, drag racing is changing a little bit. But, man, this is pro stock, right? When you go to the line and you're racing NHRA pro stock, which was, to me, still kind of the pinnacle of heads-up drag racing. I love pro mod stuff, but pro stock is awesome. I mean, those guys, they're 20 or better or they need to be, So, it's pretty cool that, we're both of us, we're semi-professional race car drivers. and you probably don't think of yourself like that, but it's true. To go out and really in Ultra Street right now, everything matters. Every part of that run matters, and the tree really matters. So it is fun. It's stressful. But it is fun to devote yourself as a driver to man, I got to be good every time. And most people, man, they don't know what that pressure is of sitting in the seat of that. When you say, when you go red, man, you're like, dude, why did I just do that? And I'm sure Cheeseburger, who tunes your stuff, Brad tunes ours, I'm sure the feeling we get when we go red is the same feeling they get when it goes out and knocks tire off.
Yeah. Yeah,
you missed it.
That's exactly right. And some people might get it or not, but every round before I'd fire the car up, I'd say a little prayer and say, hey, don't let me be the weak link. The car's running good. I know he's got a good tune-up in it. Don't let me screw this up.
Yeah.
Because I always wanted to go to YellowBullet. I've never been to that race. I've been to Cecil County before, but never to YellowBullet. And that's a big deal. At least it's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And God, it felt good. I mean, it did. I mean, the semifinals, the margin of victory was 9 thousandths at the stripe. I mean, it was hard to tell
who won.
Who won. And luckily, we came out on the better end of that deal. and even in the final, I mean, it was tight. It was really, really tight, and man.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching live feed, and on live feed, I don't know if it's like that in person, but on live feed, you can, it's hard to see the wind lights like on the screen, and it takes a second for the announcer to, even say, and you're so amped, like I'm so amped up watching it, like I'm yelling at like, who won? Like terror, like we know nobody. I'm like, the suspense, because you can't see, what I mean? You have no idea who just won that drag race. And that is when I think, like, the sweet spot of Ultra Street, it's awesome right now to have to race at that level every round. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's cool.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, how tight it was, other than the number one qualifier, 2 through 16, I think we were less than 500ths gap in 15 cars. That's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? 500ths is, it's something, but I mean, man, a good light or whatever, somebody stepping up. I mean, it was tight. It was tight. I mean, it was a really good field, and it's a lot of pressure. Man, it's a lot of pressure. I mean, you got a decent amount of time between rounds, but just trying to make sure everything's right. And then things were changing. It was supposed to run on Sunday. Well, after a first round, it got rained out. So now it's a whole different track,
Yeah.
And it was warmer on Monday. So now you're trying to adjust to that. But guess what? You don't have any runs down the track in those conditions.
Yeah.
Because it was mild on Saturday. It was mild on Friday. And you just got to go off experience and hope you make the right calls.
Yeah. I always hate, like, when you get a round in and then it rains and you got to wait, especially obviously after you win that round, because everybody's amped up, you're excited, mm-hmm. Like, all right, and it doesn't matter how long you've been drag racing, first round is always the worst. Like, you get past first round, it's just, I don't know why, but it's whatever, but you kind of lose that momentum, and then you got to start it all back again the next day, which is tough.
Well, yeah, right. And sometimes, you qualify whatever, first or second, and it seems like for us, every time we qualify, it's always the bad side of the ladder, even if you qualify good. And you'll go, man, I really wish we'd have qualified fifth, because look who they got to run. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that, but that's how racing goes. I mean, the second round, I had to race Scott Parsons. Well, he's won races this year, and that's who I raced in the final in Florida. And then the third round, I had to race Chris Holbrook. Well, he was in the final at NMCA. His car's running good. And then I had, in the semis, I had to race the record holder of Ultra Street, Dylan, and then in the final I had to race Bartikoff. So there was no easy rounds.
And it does make you feel like when you win a race like that, when you really, and you never plowed through anybody, it was all really good racing, but you get down to the end of the day and you're like, man, we really earned that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was tired. I was ready for a nap. I mean, I just was like spent. I mean, I had delusions of, okay, after we're done, we're going to drive home. We drove home we made it about 180 miles, and I said, I'm done. Let's just stop. I'm spent. I couldn't have made it. I'd have ended up in a ditch somewhere.
And you drive that big old rig. Yeah, see, you're a semi-professional race car driver and amateur truck driver. That's all of us are.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, and I think the cool thing, your wife was there, your son was there. Everybody was hanging out, like just a good day to take home a big check.
Oh, yeah. I was thrilled. And I got to meet Monty, puts a race on. That's the first time I ever met him. I'd always seen posts on YellowBullet that he'd make. I always wondered, what kind of guy is he in person? Man, he couldn't have been any nicer. He came over to the pit, hung out, got to meet him and his wife. Just nice people.
It's cool that, like, me and Martin talk about it a lot, like, Facebook kind of killed the online forums or whatever, but YellowBullet's still there. Like, I mean, you can still go on there and post. You can still search threads, and like, there's a lot of information.
I go there every Monday. Every Monday.
So, but anything else you want to say? Do we have questions, Zach?
Basically, just a bunch of congratulations.
Oh, that's awesome.
Go on, right?
That's awesome. It was, it was funny. So we were having trouble with our smart car. We've had trouble all year with it. Just a mystery electrical gremlin. It'll just decide it doesn't want to run for 10 minutes or an hour or 2 seconds. And so I was glad it made it all the way through. And when Cheese comes down to the end to pick me up after the final, it quits and it won't start up. And we're down there and we're down there. And all of a sudden my phone just starts blowing up. People had seen it on the live feed, and I'm trying to, return thank you, and things like that. And I said, look at that, somebody's looking out for us. The smart car lasted as long as it had to.
Yeah. And then it quit. Well, I'm sure people might have questions after, but we can kind of change gears here. What are we sitting in front of, Dave, other than your big check?
Well, this is the nicest G-body on the planet.
See, this is where I go on.
I mean, really, when I brought this car over here, it was a stock car, stock Grand National that somebody had taken the air conditioning off of and things like that. And I just, for once in my life, wanted to try to build something as nice as could be. I'm not a rich guy. I dig ditches and knock down crack houses for a living. But
got a $10,000 check.
I got a $10,000 check. It only cost probably $15,000 to win it. So I'm a little negative right now, but that's okay. But yeah, so brought this car over here a while back and said, do what you can do.
It smelled like cat piss.
It sure did. It sure did. That's why I didn't take the interior out of it.
I'm gonna pay somebody to do that.
That's right. But it's like some things that we, changed up. I was dead set when I dropped it off. I don't think I want to do a double frame rail. You got all those bars in the car, and then I got to thinking about it and said, I'm only going to do this once.
Yeah.
And I'm getting old.
You're not old, bud.
God, I feel old. I feel old, but I don't think old, if that makes any sense.
My dad always says that.
Really?
Yeah, all the time.
And just like putting a floater rear end in it, well, I don't need that at my power level, which I don't, but what if,
Yeah.
So if we're going to do something from scratch, just do it to the best of your ability. It's kind of like I said about going to a race and not having expectations of winning.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you either need to try harder or pick another hobby.
Yeah, and really just for people watching, this thing's getting ready to go to Mr. Boynton at the beginning of October, so right now what we're doing, Jaybird's plumbing all the fire system. We're doing all the brake lines. So really to build a car to the level that this thing is, Dave did just a fantastic customer. Just wanted the nicest car that we could possibly give him. So because of that, everything's getting plumbed, mocked up before it ever even goes to paint, so that when we get it back, there's literally nothing left that we have to do. It should, and it will just click back together. So yeah, and we'll probably, I've been kind of hoarding pictures back of it just because I got a lot done on it, but I don't really want to. I'm probably going to do one big album before it goes to paint, just of all the small details. Jay is just absolutely like the fit and finish is, I couldn't produce a car with the fit and finish that it is by myself. That Jay and the team, Brad, man, it's everything's so well thought out. And I'm not doing that, like, obviously people probably think we're tooting our horn, but like racing with these guys, racing at the level that you race, I think to build a really nice race car, you have to race. Because you see what could be better, how to make it go in between rounds, and every car that we do is really better than the last. So yeah, I'm excited. So if you're thinking about building a new car, we're not taking on any work, so don't contact. We love you, but don't contact us. It might be one of the last 10 soldier cars that ever get built. But anyway, this thing, it fits X275 Ultra Street rules. Dave can run either of those classes, but also it's built well enough that if you wanted to run Pro 275, if we wanted to put something other than the Buick V6, God forbid, the car's built for that. So it's double frame rail. It still is. Huh? Oh, so it does have stock style rear suspension. Like I said, double frame rail. And then the way we did the front end, all that stuff, he can put a bigger motor in it if he wants. Later.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, I don't have any intentions of changing the engine, but I never would have thought that I'd make a pass and go mid 450s and think, it doesn't feel fast anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, that's the scary part. Because back when my car used to run high, 490s or so, my Buick, I'd see a car make a 450 run, and I just would think, wow, that looks really quick.
Yeah.
Well, once you get used to it, it doesn't feel fast, and then you start having the desire to go quicker and quicker. And God forbid if, we ever outgrow the Buick V6, which I don't have any intentions of doing that. I'm planning on taking it farther than anybody has, or as far as I know how.
Yeah.
But it would give me the option of trying something else.
Well, and I think, and then we'll probably end on this point. I love this car. I mean, I would keep it if you'd let me, but no, we're close. And but I love everything about it. It's got a ton of work into it. I mean, there's no detail that's left unturned. I mean, we've done as much as we can do, and it is, I'm really proud of the car that we produced. But on the same token, the Mustang that you're racing right now, we work a lot on the Mustang. We didn't build the whole car, but we work a lot on it just to keep you going and update and stuff like that. But the Mustang's just a 25.5 car. It does have stock torque boxes in it. It's still an 8.8. It's got steel mini tubs in it. Like, compared to this car, it's very cheap. It's a nice car, but it's, you know what I mean? It's,
sure.
it takes a lot less to put that together than something like this. And the cool thing is, people do get up in arms about rules and letting whatever and this and that. But the fact of the matter is that a 25.5 Mustang with stock torque boxes and steel mini tubs just won $10,000 at arguably the baddest ultra street race that's happened on the planet. So I think in that respect, John does a really fair job with letting certain things in, this and that, because at the end of the day, a Mustang is a 4-link car with a strut on it from the factory. It's a good car.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to go heads-up racing, class racing, your cheapest option is to buy a Fox body. Dave's still trying to get the Fox body Mustang off of him.
Well, being a Buick guy for so many years, I'd never drove a Mustang until 3 years ago. A buddy of mine's car, Terry's car. I made some laps in it in Bowling Green. And he says, well, how do you feel about driving a Ford? And I said, well, it doesn't feel so icky if it goes fast. And that was just a joke. But ever since I've been driving Cheese's car, and I'm a diehard GM guy and all that, I don't hate the Fords or anything, but I can see why a lot of people race them, because they're nice cars. I mean, they really are nice cars. And, man, that thing works so well. It really does. And it's a testament to the work you all have done to it. Cheese, making the right calls and, this and that. And, I just got to say, you don't always have to have the fastest car. Some guys get all up in arms, I can't compete with these guys. Well, there's been a lot of races that we've gone to and we did not have the fastest car, but we did pretty good. And just like this past weekend, I mean, a little bit of luck, some driving, good decision making, and there you go.
Yeah, it's good, man. We lose video again?
Yeah, we're having camera problems again. It's just getting hot.
Well,
Dave.
yeah, Dave. We can conclude on that note, but thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We're going to let you look at your race car. Did we get video back or no?
Yeah, it's loading.
Sorry for our technical difficulties. We're going to have a serious talk with our media guide.
I would like to give a shout out. Thanks to a lot of people.
Yeah, you're back. You got video now. So you can say thank you to whoever you want.
All right. So when we were at NMCA race in Norwalk a little over a week ago, we broke the rear end. We qualified number 1, had a pretty good shot at doing well at that race, and we broke the rear end in the second round. And Cheese and I went to put the other ring and pinion in it, even though we knew we were out, we went to put that in because I told him, I said, what if the housings broke? Because, man, when it broke, it was violent.
Yeah.
Car went maybe 20, 30 foot, bam. And so we went to put that in. Well, when we went to tighten up the yoke on the pinion, it would bind up. So I knew the shims were wrong. Something was wrong there, and I'm not an expert on that kind of stuff, but I knew before we would just hammer the thing tight. So Martin called, so we went to put it in, and it was binding up. So I knew something wasn't right. So I said, you know, it's about ready to rain. I'll just put it in a trailer, and I'll fix it in Cecil. So as I'm driving to Cecil, I'm talking to Martin Conley, and I told him what happened, and he goes, I'm going to call Ron Rhodes. So he calls Ron, and Ron says, hey, bring it over here tomorrow. So we drove past Cecil to Ron's shop in Delaware, and man, he couldn't have been any nicer.
Ron's awesome.
I mean, he was great. I mean, he took a vehicle off the lift, got that Mustang right on there. We took it apart, and it just needed one little shim, you know, and he moved, you know, tightened up some other stuff. And then he said, what about the transmission? And I said, what are you talking about? It just broke the rear end. He says, I bet it broke the transmission too. So we backed it outside, fired it up, and sure enough, first gear was broke. So he said, pull it back in, let's take transmission apart. I mean, you know, he could have said, look, I'm getting ready for YellowBullet.
Yeah, he's getting ready himself, customer.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, listen, I don't want to put my problems off on you. You've already been nice enough. And he goes, nope, let's work on it. So we took it apart, called Rodney at RPM. I mean, it was like 5 o'clock on Tuesday night, and we FaceTimed him and showed him what was broke, and he said, I know exactly what you need. I'm going to put a care package together. Overnighted it, AM delivery, got the parts, put it in, and everything worked like a champ.
That's awesome.
I mean, those guys, I mean, I cannot say thanks enough to those guys. I mean, there's so many more people, but just right now in this video, I just want to say, you know, we had broke parts. They came through, and I'm really grateful.
Yeah, Ron probably like just whispered on that ring opinion, and then, I mean, it went 105, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's because Ron touched it.
Oh, well, yeah. And, you know, his son Ronnie was making jokes about, you know, hey, you know, this is a turbo car, Dad. It's not a nitrous car. And he goes, yeah, well, I'll work on it anyways.
Yeah. Ronnie texted me because there's a sticker on the side of Dave's car that says, Brad says all my friends are idiots, and it's a picture of me in an awesome helmet. But I got a picture. Ronnie sent me a picture of my face.
Oh, man.
But that's cool, man. So, yeah, just good job, bud. It was awesome to see you win. You're always so humble about it. And, you know, just as us as your friends, like I said, everybody works hard. But it's been awesome to see all your hard work. So
I appreciate it. It's easy to learn to be humble when you've lost a lot.
Well, that'll be it. I think Zach's camera broke again. So we will have an edited version of this on YouTube tomorrow. He'll go back and fix all the problems. But all right.
All right.
See ya.